Hi everyone, this is Heather and Taryn. We're just gonna hang out, wait for a couple of minutes for you guys to jump on and let us know if you can hear us. What's going on?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Are you asking them?
What's going on? Nobody's there yet.
Drinking my coffee.
Oh, that's good.
I'm excited. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. We are sitting in my great room and we're looking outside, and our view currently, we see chickens.
And a kitty.
Chickens and a kitty. It's fun here.
Hopefully there will be a fluffy kitty that comes and joins us at some point.
So you might hear some crowing. Okay, I see that we have a few people. Could you just let me know if you can hear us okay? And then we'll get started. That would be awesome. I sit here and smile at the camera.
I see a thumbs up.
Oh, hi Charlene.
Hi Charlene. This is my first time live.
Okay, Becky can hear us, so we're gonna get started. Okay, why don't you tell...
I can hear you, but I can't see your beautiful faces.
Oh gosh. You know what, I've heard that about... Are you on your phone, Stephanie? I've heard that about the phone, but I don't know why. I'm not sure how to troubleshoot that exactly. Maybe...
Is she the only one who can't see us?
Can you guys see us?
Hi Charlene, can you see us?
Oh, she's on her PC.
Oh, that's weird.
That is weird. I don't know, maybe try refreshing the page, I'm not sure. So if you're wondering, the reason we're looking down is the comments are at the bottom.
Charlene.
For real. She's hilarious. I know.
Proud.
Wait, block. Can you ban someone? I know you can do that on Periscope. Okay, good morning. I'm here with Taryn Boyd, and she joined me today. We have some other strategic things that we're working on today, but she agreed to do this live interview. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Can you tell us a little bit about your business and your style of shooting?
Sure.
Yeah, we would love to hear that.
So I am based out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I've been in business for about 5 years. I need to hone in on that number because people ask me that all the time, but I think it's been about 5 years.
It's hard to almost realize, I mean,
yeah.
How do you say when it is you started? Because
exactly.
you picked up a camera and you were shooting, but
yeah.
When is the official, who knows?
Right, yeah. So about 5 years. I am really well known for my lifestyle newborn photography and my maternity photography, but I also love to document families. So I'm all natural light. I do shoot out inside and outside, depending on the type of session.
What's your favorite?
That's so hard. So for a really long time, I really wanted to hone in on maternity.
Yeah.
So for a while it was maternity, but then my newborn photography moved to lifestyle, which I love.
Beautiful.
I feel super privileged going into people's homes during that time. But now I really feel like I'm into documenting families. So it changes.
Right, it evolves.
Yeah.
You evolve, what you like.
Yeah.
What do you do when you walk into a house for a lifestyle newborn and it's a gloomy day because we live in Pittsburgh, or they don't have a lot of windows, or they have a lot of clutter? Like, how do you approach that? Because your stuff is very clean and minimal.
Yeah. So I usually don't. Okay, so you had actually asked me, you had done a shoot recently,
yes.
A newborn shoot, and you were asking me about lighting and how I approach it if that happens. And a lot of my clients, I think, already see my work and see that there's a lot of light and their homes are already really well lit. So I do feel like it kind of naturally those kind of clients naturally come to me. But I definitely have clients where the houses are really dark. I live in Mount Lebanon. They have smaller windows, darker homes, lots of dark wood. But I just I work with it. I mean, it's a challenge, and I like the challenge. And, I just kind of try to find these really interesting pockets of light, and sometimes those images come out a lot moodier.
Oh, yes. Which is true. And
a big, bright, airy house. But the same moments and
So you don't use any lighting? No. Just your, how do you feel about ISO? Because it's been a big topic with us recently, the high ISO. What are you shooting? What camera? Okay,
so I have two. I have a Nikon D700, which I love. It was my first big girl camera. Well, I guess it depends on what you want to call a big girl camera. Right. My first, full frame camera. And I have a Nikon D810 that does really well with low light. So I will use that. And I'm okay. I'm fine shooting.
Like pretty high?
Yeah.
Like what number? On those cameras?
I try to not go over like 5,000, but if I have to, I have to.
I mean, did you hear that? She said 5,000.
Yeah.
So I've talked to you about this. I have some clients that are like, I want to keep my ISO at like 200 or below. And
that's impossible.
Where do you live? That's what
yeah. Even in a bright, airy house, like Heather's house has a ton of light. I mean, I would still be probably shooting at like 1,600.
And that's for your shutter speed, right? Mm-hmm. Because you want to have a flash. Yes. It's because you want to freeze motion.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back to you're starting your business. What did you do prior to photography?
I did sales and marketing.
Which is a great fit for something like this because you're selling yourself.
Yes.
So the segue into that is then how did you get your first clients?
I've always loved photography. Yeah, I was thinking if anybody had asked any question.
Yeah, no, not yet.
When I started getting, and I had always loved photography, and I started getting into it. And at the time, I was working at a company working part time because I had had my babies, and I just started like shooting, friends and family.
Right.
My kids were little, so it's a great age to practice on, and people just started saying, oh, like, are you doing photography? Can I hire you? And I did charge a little bit of money because it was time away from my family. But I mean, I'm talking like, this was portfolio building. I didn't have a Facebook page. I didn't have a website. I didn't have any overhead at all. So I charged like $75 to $150, I think, during my portfolio building.
Did you, but prior to that, did you do any for free? Were you shooting for free, just like whatever you could get? Or did it go straight into making money?
I don't know that I really ever, yes, obviously my kids and like if a friend was over play date, but no, I don't think I ever really did a portfolio building session for total, $75, which is almost free.
Which is basically free.
But no, I don't think I ever really did.
I had to do a lot of free stuff. I did a couple of free weddings and for friends and stuff just to like get some practice and feel more confident. But shooting weddings is a little bit different. You can't really jump in right into charging because you have to know what you're doing, because you can't screw it up.
Well, I have a funny story.
Oh.
I'll make it quick.
Oh, funny story.
So when I was pregnant with my now 7-year-old, so I had Jonas who was little, my husband's cousin's wife, basically, they weren't married, but it was like his wife. And I did a couple of weddings and we charged for them. And I mean, I'm talking like we shared the expense of charging $800 for a wedding, but like I did like this kind of shot was super artsy and I had a flash on my camera that I used.
Wow.
It was, so you would murder me.
So you stepped into the wedding scene. How many weddings did you do?
I think we did like 4 or 5.
Yeah, and what did you think?
I hated them.
The stress or just too much?
Well, I was pregnant, and I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I had forgotten how to use manual, or maybe not totally forgotten, but just didn't want to take the time.
Yeah, it's very fast-paced.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say, like, in the moment, I was like, this is horrible. But, like, I never, when I said, okay, I'm going to really, truly, I'm going to start my own business and give a go at it, I never had any desire to do
No, it just wasn't for you. I find that a lot of people I mentor, they either love it or they hate it. And and some of them, you don't know till you do it.
Yeah.
So you have to shoot a few weddings, and then some people are like, oh, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And then other people like me are like, let's go, because the adrenaline, like, you love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you consider yourself successful? And if so, what does success look like to you? Because success is different for everyone. You know, how you define success could be different from me. Do you feel like, you're like you made it, like you're successful?
I wouldn't say made it, because when you say made it, I feel like made it and I'm done.
Yeah, right.
Never
done.
But no. But yeah, I consider myself successful. I'm doing something that I love. Like this has been a dream of mine before I really knew it was a dream of mine. I mean, I in high school was the girl with the camera. People were like, why do you have all these photos? I was like, I had a camera with me all the time. I just loved taking pictures. Like, obviously didn't know I wanted to be a photographer. I didn't really know that you could even make a living at it. I didn't go to school for it. I did take some fun film classes in college, but I didn't really know that it was gonna turn into this. And so, like, I'm happy doing something that I love.
Right. And you can, and you have what I call, we all have is a lifestyle business. So it works based on your lifestyle, the season that you're in with your kids, as they grow, as they change, how many sessions you can take, when you can take them.
Yeah.
Like it just fits.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is awesome.
Yeah.
So I had a mentoring session recently with a client, and she figured out that we knew each other, and she was like, "Oh, you know Taryn?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." And she said, "How did she get to be such a big deal?"
Oh, that's funny. I didn't realize it was a big deal. That's an interesting.
Well, and I should say to you guys, Taryn is very humble. So she doesn't think of herself as a big deal, but we all know she is a big deal. She's nationally recognized. Clickin' Moms has sought her out for breakout sessions. She's speaking there later this year in the fall. So she is a big deal, but we never see ourselves that way.
Yeah.
But how did you get to that point, I guess?
So I guess well, let me just backtrack and say, like, when you say like big deal, like there are, let's just like narrow it down to just the photographer field. Like you have some people that have hundreds of thousands of Facebook followers and they're classified as a big deal. And then you have other photographers that have like 100 followers on their page, but they can be absolutely amazing. So I just want to say that like likes on a Facebook page or Instagram followers have
nothing to do.
Pretty much nothing to do
with being a big deal.
With being a big deal at all. I mean, I sometimes will like find this artist and I'm like, oh, and I see him on Facebook and I was like, wait, they have 100 followers? They're amazing.
Right.
Like,
where are the people?
They're doing something I've never seen anybody do before. And like, where are they? It also depends a lot on when people came into the market. Like Facebook is really hard to get followers on anymore. Now it's more Instagram and that's becoming more difficult. So,
have you noticed Instagram, since they've changed a few things recently, it's getting kind of funny on there.
Yeah.
More sponsored, more weird things happening. Strange people have been following me and I click their name and I'm like,
oh yeah.
What? Yeah.
Block.
Yeah. Something is really weird there. Yeah, so which means it's only going to get harder.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you have to kind of always be, we can get into that some more, but kind of reinventing how you're making sure that you're in front of people. But anyway, so like the big deal thing is funny. I mean, what defines,
what does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that even mean? And I appreciate, if you feel that way or somebody's like, oh, because I truly like every single person who, takes the time to like tap their phone to like my photo or even take it another step further to comment. I have people writing me personal like messages on my page. And I so appreciate every single one of those people because that means a lot. Like, I just feel like the world should be walking around like, Heather, you're so pretty and I love your shirt. And why would you not say that to somebody if that's how you feel?
Well, you're an encourager for sure. Yeah. And I think people sense that about you. And so they wish to encourage you in return, right? Because you kind of get what you put out, right? Yeah. Exactly.
So let me just kind of close that question. So I guess if you out there are wanting to be a big deal, just don't lead with that as your reason for doing any of this because it won't work that way.
It doesn't work that way.
You need, and I often see a lot of photographers like, this person's a big deal, so I'm going to emulate what this person's doing. But what this person's doing is very genuine and it's in their heart and only they can, and that's why they're a big deal because it's their thing. So I think it's really important to try to stay true to yourself, which is really, really hard in this industry, especially when you're starting out. We all kind of go through
like trying to please everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
What do they want instead of, well, who am I, right? Yeah. I mean, which is more important, who am I or what they want? Well, it's obviously who you are.
Yes. Yeah.
So that leads into what is a mistake that you see photographers making, newer photographers? Like, what is one thing that you're like, ooh, we should maybe reframe that?
So many.
Yeah.
What did I do? No.
Yeah, right. What were the mistakes that I made?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just to kind of expand on that, what I was saying is like, just try to like make sure that whatever you're doing, you're leading with your heart, and making sure that you're trying to find your own vision and your own voice, because there's so many trends in the marketplace and I guess.
Yeah, so just be genuine.
Yeah.
Like be true to who you are.
Yeah, because I mean, I definitely made that mistake. There were things that I like with my Pose newborn photography, which I love. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, and I still love like looking at those kind of photos, but it wasn't for me. But I thought I had to do it because that's all I knew.
Because that's what people wanted, right? So I better do it. That's what everybody's doing.
Yeah.
And then you were like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I prefer the lifestyle and going into people's homes, and so that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And then you totally owned it, and now that's all you do, right? And newborn, like, do you even own a beanbag?
Nope, I got rid of it. I sold it.
So you didn't have this props.
I used to bring it with me to a lot of sessions just in case, and then I just said I just need to like.
Yeah, and then you don't even have it. It's not even in your trunk. I can't even do it. Nope. So we're just gonna. What about like you have some wraps or some things that you take like that? Just to swaddle.
Yeah, absolutely. I have like blankets and stuff because you still wrap the baby.
Yeah.
And I like to try to see first like what the parents have in there because there's so many pretty like baby receiving blankets.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Like Muslim ones and stuff. So I'll try to use those first. But if not, I have a little bag of that kind of stuff. But not really that many like hats or headbands anymore.
No, you don't do a lot of proppy stuff. Yeah. No, which is fine. There's a market for everything.
Absolutely.
So if somebody is attracted to that lifestyle, they'll hire you. And if they're not, they'll go somewhere else. And that's fine because there's enough for everyone, which leads me to a lot of photographers that I meet will say, the market is so saturated. There's so many photographers. There's a photographer around every corner. I can't compete. Are you dumping coffee everywhere? It's hilarious. So what do you say to those photographers who are like sitting at home thinking, how am I going to do this when there's so many photographers out there?
You just have to know, like, I guess going into it, that it's not easy. It's not as easy as any successful photographer makes it look. It's hard. It's a lot of work. Shooting and editing is like 20-30% of the business. Everything else is QuickBooks, education, which I do love education.
Yeah, well,
it's
that's
I'm passionate
easy,
about.
Yeah.
But I mean,
like the business stuff, like the non-glamorous,
hard work. Yeah, there's a lot of that. The marketing. I mean, it's so much work. So know that like just because you have a nice camera and 10 people have said, oh, you take such cute pictures, it doesn't necessarily mean you should start a business. I'm not saying it doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't.
You might.
Yeah. But like you need to just know like this is a really big uphill climb. And it's a lot of people start in this industry and they don't succeed. So your heart has to be into it. You have to know that there's going to be, a huge learning curve. Yeah, there's gonna be some tough times.
Yeah, I've noticed in the almost 13 years that I've been in business, it's really been a revolving door. A lot of the people that I knew when I started are no longer in photography, but they have a great skill set. They decided to move on, and that's fine. You evolve, your business evolves, but it is a lot of hard work. But I'll say this about the market saturation. That's kind of that's a pain point for me because I believe there's enough business for everyone. Life is not a zero-sum game. For you to win, I don't have to lose.
Exactly.
There's enough.
Yeah.
We can find it. But if you get your mind set on, oh, well, it's too saturated and I'll never get business, you won't because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Yeah. And the thing is, I'm here to tell you, those photographers have always been there. It's just now that you picked up a camera, you notice it. Mm-hmm. They have always been there.
Yeah.
So you picked up a camera, now all of a sudden you notice there's a photographer around every corner, but they have a different style and that's okay. There is enough for everyone.
Yeah.
Which is why I've been teaching it from the beginning because I don't think it hurts my business. I directly train my competition every single day, and I have for years. Yeah. And it hasn't hurt my business yet. So, yeah.
And there's all different types of photography businesses. I mean, not just genre, but like, there's people out there that are clients that are looking for, I don't value, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. Everybody has values on different things, but I don't value photography as much as, the next person or the next person. And so they just want somebody to come and do some quick shoot with, during the holidays, and that's fine. And there's photographers out there like that. Or there's the newborn photographer that has a studio that can do a couple newborns like that a day. Or then there's like somebody like me that's a little bit more boutique. I don't want to to do that many sessions a day. It's a little bit more hand-holding with my clients. And then there's some people even that are even more hand-holding.
Yeah.
You know,
which leads to volume. What is your ideal volume? What if you had like the perfect month in the summer or fall? How many sessions would you do?
6. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a little more than one a week.
Yeah, a little more. So maybe
if I could do 6 sessions every single month, that would be, I think that would be
ideal
for me.
Now, what happens in the wedding industry is like I say, oh, I want 12 weddings a year. That's one a month. But that's not how it works because they're all in the summer and fall. So you do 18 in October, but you do 1 in February. And then it averages out to a certain particular number. Okay, what's next for you? Like, what are you working on? What inspires you?
So I think that you'll probably see a lot more like indoor family documentary photography, not just lifestyle newborn photography, but family. I really, really love that. And it's the nice thing about it is I can do it all through those cold winter months.
Yes.
So it's not, my business isn't as seasonal. So
which is nice.
So nice.
Yeah, nice. Seasonal business is really tough because you work so hard in one season and then the next season it's very lean. So that is really nice.
Yeah. And then I am, like as Heather had mentioned, if you guys are joining late, I'm going to be teaching at Click Away this year in Seattle. I'm so excited. I'm doing 2 indoor maternity teaching sessions where people are I'm going to do some instruction, but I also want people to shoot alongside of me so they can ask me questions. And then I'm also going to be doing 2 family outdoor family sessions.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone watching is going to Click Away this year. You could let us know, or if you have a question for Taryn.
I've seen some questions come through.
Yeah, I
but
saw
I didn't
marketing. Alexis, I'm actually talking about marketing on Thursday in my live video. I have that scheduled for 10. I actually need to move that to 9:30 a.m. So 9:30 on Thursday, I'm going to talk about one marketing tip that really worked for me. So you might want to tune in then. And Erica's talking about a video of you in action. Is your breakaway still available?
My breakout, yeah.
Yeah, breakout. Sorry.
It's like, I now refer to it as an ebook because people are like, if you're not familiar with Clickin' Moms, they have things called breakouts, and people are like, I don't really know what that means. About a year, let me just quickly go over it. About a year and a half ago, I did a breakout, and it was live, and it was $50 at the time, and it was like you could go at self-paced, but I was available to field questions. But you can still purchase it in the store for $60. Every once in a while they'll run like a special 20% off special or something like that. But there are videos of me shooting indoors, a lifestyle session, plus an outdoor maternity session. I talk about my maternity styling. I can't remember how big the PDF is, but you get all that stuff. You get to keep it.
It's really nice. Yeah, it's very, very valuable. And for that price, like, if that stuff interests you, listen, stop being so cheap, because that is nothing.
$60. I mean, really $60. And I don't hold anything back. And if I can later, I can go in the comment section and I can post a link to that.
Link to that. Yeah, but that's a very valuable resource. Before we wrap up, does anyone have any questions they would like to ask Taryn while she's here? We have a couple of hours worth of work to do next. Thank you for that heart, whoever did that. Kayla says she has the breakout and it's great.
Oh, thanks, Kayla.
Yeah. So also, let's wait for a few questions to come in, but you did a boot camp last year with me.
I did.
What were your thoughts on that? What did you take away from it? Because I get a lot of questions on boot camp and what it entails and what it covers, but maybe like a takeaway that you had that helped.
Well, let me just say, like, this is something that I preach a lot to people who do ask me for advice and stuff. And I think that another way to continue to grow, and why, like, I've not made it, is like I still really seek out guidance of other people.
And you invest in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like physical money.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cost of doing business. And, you know, there are certain things I'm really, really good at. And there are certain aspects of business I think that come kind of naturally to me, but there are other things that really don't.
Yeah,
and Heather has, that's why I think Heather and I have gotten as close as we've gotten, is because I've hired her on a handful of occasions, which is one of the reasons we're here to get together today. But I took her boot camp, and like I try to get friends that aren't photographers to take it, because it really is so much like about getting yourself and your mind and your head and your life like
together,
organized
like,
and together.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, if you're a mess and everything in your life's a mess, like your business is going to kind of be a mess too. All of those things kind of go hand in hand. So,
yeah, you know what? People think they can compartmentalize, and you can't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
you
everything
really cannot.
permeates, right.
Absolutely, especially with me. I'm kind of a mess.
Well, we're the perfect pair because Taryn is super, super creative and artistic, and that's not my strength. So when she shows me something or the way she sees something, I'm like, I never would have seen it that way. And I'm more the business mind.
Yeah.
So it
We're a
works
good
out.
team.
Yeah, we are a good team. It works out perfectly.
Okay, so Mary, I'll answer your question first. I sell on Offset. Okay, so I recently applied. Okay, so if you don't know what Offset is,
I've never heard
it
of
is.
Offset.
It's a stock photography business,
okay.
but it is really, it's hard to get into. They really look for a lot of lifestyle photos, like anything kind of posed. They're going to totally knock out. Like you send them like a bunch of stuff. You send them I did a Flickr portfolio. They looked at it. I was accepted. Then I had to send in a bunch of photos. Right now they're all personal photos, and I actually haven't even got my gallery up yet. So, it kind of went away, but yeah. So,
so people buy it? Like people can
yeah.
buy it?
So what happens is it like you go on and you, let's say, boy eating cereal.
Yeah.
And then they look, and then it'll have like boy eating cereal, and they can buy one of my images, and they pay. It's good money. People can make really good money off of it.
You should explore that more.
I know.
Yeah, like,
it's on my list to do for like a couple of months. I have to get it.
Let's make it a goal. Yeah. Connie's asking, how do you deal with photographers that are not so nice to you? I ignore it and I move on. I mean, really, there's going to be not nice people in every aspect of life. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe you're not who I want to hang around with. But you know what? People who are not nice, Connie, are typically struggling with something. So my approach with that, actually we were sort of talking about that this morning before we started, is to show grace and be kind, period. Show grace and be kind, but then move on. Yeah. Obviously not let it, because you're going to get people who don't love you.
The biggest hang up I think people can have is like thinking like worrying about competition all the time, or other, people being mean to you in the industry because you're another photographer. It doesn't matter, like, at all. I mean, those people aren't people that you would want to associate yourself with. If I don't want to say that in a mean way, but you want to like surround yourself by other positive photographers.
Yeah, for sure.
And
that are making things happen, and that are not deflecting or blaming the economy or the government or the saturated market. They're just doing it. They're just killing it.
Yes. I just wanted to point out, somebody had said something about you saying you're not creative, Heather. What about your toilet paper?
Oh, I didn't
and
see
right before, I should have like torn it off. Right before we went live, I ran to the restroom, and she had her pretty little toilet paper, and I tried to like make it pretty, and
I can teach you that.
It's so bad.
That's bonus material. Maybe I should do a video on that. But the key there, that's funny and that's simple, but the key there, and Taryn will know this about me, is that you leave things better than you found them. That's an attitude, a philosophy that I have in life across the board. Wherever I'm at, whatever I do, I want to leave something better than I found it, even if it's just toilet paper. Okay, Sarah is asking, when did you start raising your prices from the 50 to 150, friend? Was it after you started your website?
That's a good question.
Like, how did you...
I think my next step was I got a website, got a Facebook page, said now booking. I did that for just a couple of months, and then I started... I raised my prices by like I was like a couple $100. And then it would like include, and then I started like looking into products. I went to an expo and I started offering too many products. Another mistake photographers make. But it was just like slow and steady. And as I saw my work growing, I needed to I just kind of...
You valued it more.
Yeah.
And yourself.
But I've heard really good advice that I didn't do this, but I've heard really good advice is start off, like, let's say you're just starting out and you're going to charge $250. Put on your pricing that it's $500 and then discount it as like, portfolio building discount.
Right,
that's one way that you can do it, so that if you have clients that you're worried about like sticker shock, like next time they hire you, that's like a good way. They were like, well, I was always $500. You got
a deal.
Yeah. So,
And some of the advice I give in that realm is as you grow and you learn as a photographer, you could set small goals for yourself. Like, I'm going to book 5 clients at $150. Once I book 5 clients at that rate, I'm going to take it to 200. I'm going to book 5 at 200. I'm going to book 10 at 225 and so on. That's what I did with my weddings. Like because here's why. I was booking weddings a year in advance. So I had to predict sort of where I was going to be. I knew I was going to be better, but I didn't know how much better, and I didn't know how to value it. So I did it based on a scientific formula. So there was no emotion involved. Emotion is what gets you in trouble, especially women, every time. So it was like 5 sessions at this, then this. And ultimately with a goal in mind, like, where do you want to be? And hopefully that will help. Do you think it's possible to be successful if you only use Lightroom, Photoshop, not sure about that. I will say this. I know several photographers that only use Lightroom.
And I almost only use Lightroom.
Yeah. What do you take into Photoshop?
I do most of my editing, especially the artistic editing, in Lightroom. And then I take every photo, I pull it up in Photoshop, and sometimes I'm opening it, scanning it, and closing it.
That's me. Like
but,
a QA. Like,
yeah,
good.
so I use, if it's a close-up, and I do run portraiture, which if you're not familiar with, it's like a skin softening, airbrushy kind of look. I will run that. If liquify needs to be done, but I really don't liquify that much. And I know you can do it in Lightroom, the brush that gets rid of.
Yes.
Spot removal. I don't love that in Lightroom, so I usually take that kind of stuff into Photoshop because I use that little Band-Aid. Yeah. What's it called?
The healing brush.
The healing brush. I use that.
J on your keyboard. Shift J to access different. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's about all I'm doing in Photoshop. So absolutely, yeah. Lightroom is amazing.
Yeah, you can do everything in Lightroom. Brittany, is there a reason? Is it a learning curve? Is it financial? Because if you purchase Lightroom on the cloud for $10 a month, you're going to get Photoshop anyway. So then it just becomes a learning curve. And I have good news. I don't know if you know this, but I teach it. I know she knows this.
I actually took about 5 years ago. I took Photoshop because
that's how we met.
Yeah. And I was so scared of Photoshop. I couldn't figure it out. It's really easy now. And I did for a really long time, Brittany. I did use Photoshop heavier than I used Lightroom, but Lightroom has become my friend, especially once you get lighting down and you're getting really good out of.
And you're posing. So you said something interesting. You said, I don't use the liquify tool very often. And the reason I have to use the liquify tool is typically because I've missed something in capture. Sure. I didn't pay attention to the way her arm was pressed against her side, so I should have had her pull her arm back. So if you're really paying attention to that, then you'll do less editing inside of. And you know what? Yesterday or the day before, I did a very complex removal in Lightroom using the spot removal tool. And I have some videos on this, but you can stack those adjustments. So you can get really good, but then there were a few that I was like, oh, that's going to need to go into Photoshop because I need the healing brush or the clone stamp because of a particular edge or whatever. Yeah. But she says she's just chicken when it comes to
Just do it. No, I mean, it's definitely a tool. I think
like you have to learn it though.
You don't need it, but it is nice to have, especially if you get into doing like card design or like Christmas cards or newborn cards or whatever. I do think.
Yeah, you kind of. Yeah. I mean, the word Photoshop starts with photo, and if you're a photographer, your name also starts with photo. Therefore, you might want to learn Photoshop. Yeah. You don't need to learn it as extensively as you used to.
Right.
Because my motto is, if you can do it inside of Lightroom, you probably should, because it's always going to be faster. But there are certain things that and all of the things you mentioned are the same things that I like to take into Photoshop as well, like retouching the skin. I have a retouch action. Some selective sharpening I like better in Photoshop than I like in Lightroom. I like my black and white in Photoshop better than I like in Lightroom. And any of those advanced, content aware scale or fill is Photoshop. So you couldn't do that in Lightroom. Susie loves Photoshop. Susie does love Photoshop, and Susie's really, really good at Photoshop. I mean, look at her photos, right? So, Susie, you need to send me some, oh my gosh, it's Tuesday. You need to send me some before and after for some more Tech Tuesdays. And explain to everybody what you did in Lightroom and Photoshop. Not in detail, but just at a high level. Okay, we're gonna have to jump off of here, but are there any last minute questions before we do so? Because we actually have real work to do today.
We can't just sit and talk.
No, that would be fun. Anything else? Oh, Colleen just jumped on
Colleen.
and we're done.
Well,
But you can watch it. Yeah. And I'm going to start to save these videos and post them on my YouTube channel so you can reference them either in Facebook or YouTube. But I hope that you found this useful, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.
Mwah.